platform or watch us on Facebook Live between 8 a.m. and 9 a.m. every weekday. Pod up, because we are Gator fans. So say it's great to be a Florida Gator.
Good morning and welcome to a Wednesday edition of Pod Up Matthews in the Morning from the Crime Prevention Security System Studios. Large enough to serve you, small enough to care. We're going to kick it off here with JC in just a minute. Then we'll have Blake Brockermeyer from 24/7 Sports out in Texas give us his thoughts on what's going on with Longhorns, Crimson Tide, get his breakdown of the SEC. Also, he's got some interesting thoughts on the NIL, which we'll talk about as well. He'll also talk some draft. He does a lot of breakdowns of the NFL draft. But first, we're going to head to the Titan MR hotline, and we're joined by Cornell on, as I said, the Titan MR hotline. And obviously, the Celtics play tonight. You do not have your I see you do not have your Tampa Bay Lightning sweater on. Why is that, JC?
Well, you go up 2-0. You look like you're about to take Game 5 and win the series in 6, and then you forget to play the remaining 45 minutes of that game. Tip your cap to Toronto, right? They never quit, and usually when Tampa's got a 2-0 lead, it's over. But
teams are just going to quit when they're down 2-0.
Well, Toronto
most of the time.
Well, I guess not quit, but Tampa could have put them away, and they didn't. And Toronto played better in the second and third periods and won the game. So now it goes back to Tampa for Game 6, and the Lightning have been in this position before, and they have to win 2 games. So we'll see. It's not over, certainly. And, tonight the Florida Panthers are going to try to go ahead 3-2 after coming back in Game 4 against Washington the other night when an empty net shot that the Capitals had hit the post, and the Panthers were able to score shorthanded to tie the game and then eventually win it in overtime the other night. So these are big things. The hockey playoffs are massive. They're huge. And we've got an upset going on with LA and Edmonton right now. The Kings, who were big underdogs, 8th seed in the playoffs over there in the West, are now up 3-2 on Edmonton after winning in overtime last night. So big things happening in the playoffs. Now, how about we had a no-hitter last night. I don't know if it's the first one.
We did?
Yes, we did. Reed Detmer of the California Angels. That's what I call them, California Angels. The California Angels with Reed Detmer no-hit the Rays. So a tough night for our Tampa sports fans, Mm-hmm. Our Tampa sports fans losing in hockey and then getting no-hit by the California Angels. Gee whiz.
That's good stuff. Rick says on Facebook Live here, brought to you by Meldon Law, the only official law firm partner of the Florida Gators. Did you know that, JC?
I did. I
okay.
get reminded.
He says, JC looks like you must have lost at least 2 pounds.
Yes. Well, we're going to go get on that scale here in about 35 minutes and go see over there at Publix. I only use the Publix scale, by the way. And we're going to go see how that turns out. And then I'm going to somehow I actually pressure washed the back porch last night. I thought I was going to die. Thank God my wife Carmen helped me because that is awful work. I mean, tip my cap to all the pressure washers who do it for a living here in the area, because that is
here's what your problem was. If it's the pressure washer, I think you have. Is it one that you plug in?
Well, yeah, I borrowed it from a neighbor.
Oh, so it's not the one I thought you had. Okay, so some of them just aren't enough high pressure, and it causes a lot of strenuous work. If you get one that's very powerful, and if you did you have the little circular thing, or did you have to do each little brick?
What are you talking about? I was doing it, and I was kind of, it's small. It was a $90 deal that my neighbor has. And
you need one of those to do pavers and things of that nature, Jake. Yeah. There's this disc that they put on the end of it that makes it so much easier. So,
I was told, that's your own fault. She told me about it last night, and we got it done. But my God. And then, I've got to get this place all, I guess, swept up and cleaned, I suppose, because we'll have a bunch of golfers roll through here this weekend with the Hawkstone member guests, of which I'm sure you're aware of. And so I just got things to do, QB.
You do. John says on Facebook Live, brought to you by Mellon, don't look now, but all of a sudden the Gator baseball 7-1 in its last 8 games. I think we also have to consider the schedule. Yeah, they won last night against Bethune-Cookman. Softball, we have KDC. We're at KDC Shoal Presley, by the way, if you didn't realize that. We're out in right field. They play tonight. Gators play A&M tonight at 5 o'clock. I doubt it starts on time because there's 2 games before it and there's a game after it. So supposed to start at 5. We shall see. They have the Lady Aggies from A&M.
SEC tournament. Been waiting years for that, and I'm glad Florida's getting to host it. Too bad they don't have their best player, but at any rate, they'll play in it and see how it goes. QB, the Gator baseball team, has the schedule maker has done them a favor, and it's been good that Mississippi State was so bad, and not taking anything away from Florida, of course, but play Missouri now as opposed to somebody like, say, Vanderbilt. This is good, and Florida is going to play their way into the postseason, of which both of us had doubts as recent as a week and a half ago, QB.
Yeah, so. and what's crazy is I talked about it yesterday on the show with Buddy and a lot of our listeners. The stat that blew me away that I heard over the first couple, like Monday, everybody's been complaining about Gator pitching.
Yes.
Gator pitching is about 8th in the conference in ERA.
Yeah.
Do you know where I know our listeners know this, but I'm telling you, JC, because you don't know this. Do you know where our batting average and our on base percentage is in the SEC?
I would say it's ranked in the top 3.
No, we're dead last in on base percentage and second to last in hitting.
Okay. Well, I was kind of being facetious there.
Well, no, because I thought you were being dead serious because
well,
I was blown away when I heard that stat because everybody's talked about this lineup at the plate and everybody's been bitching about the pitching.
Well, that's true, but I mean, you look at the conference, the way Tennessee hits the ball, the way Arkansas hits the ball, and it's tough. This is the toughest league in the country. So, the Gators going to play their way into the SEC tournament. Was it 10 or was I right with 10?
No, there's 12 that go. Only 2 teams missed the tournament.
Well, then I was wrong. Okay, so it was 12.
Yeah, we're going to make it now. John says, QBD, do you think the baseball tournament will ever rotate ballparks like softball does? No, I asked Sully about that, I guess, maybe at the beginning of the year. Because I think that would be kind of cool. But I think they play so many games and they last so long. And that tournament lasts forever, it seems like. They're going to keep it in Hoover. It's a good ballpark. They're not going to do it like softball.
Tell me why the SEC baseball tournament is so important, though. I mean, you've got
it's not unless you're on the bubble and it can help your seeding.
Yeah, for regionals, right? To either host or be a high seed on the road in a regional. I get it. I really enjoy the postseason in college baseball. It's one of the best sports going, and for some reason, no app seems to have the results of the postseason. I mean, we have an app that we like to use on the phone called the Score Mobile. It's like it doesn't even exist. I mean, you've got Pakistani cricket on here as opposed to college baseball. College baseball is one of the most underloved, but one of the most loved sports in college athletics. Underloved by the NCAA and those who run it, and loved by fans that go and watch it. And I can't figure that out, QB, because when you think of all the money that's invested in college baseball and you think of the scholarship limitations that they have, to me, they need at least 16 or 17 scholarships in college baseball, and they don't have them.
I think everybody that's on the team, they shouldn't have at least 22.
Okay, 22. Throw 22 out there. What is it now? I remember when it was 11.
No, they have to split like 11 scholarships among the entire team.
I just don't get that. Tell me the rationale.
Softball's the same way.
Well, okay, softball, but baseball came before softball, right? And baseball.
Well, you're going to have to tune in to my buddy Blake, because Blake, he's going to talk about this because he and I were discussing. He goes, if I'm running a program, I don't give anybody scholarships. Only go to my walk-ons, so they're really not walk-ons anymore. He goes, he'll talk to. He goes, why should like Quinn Ewers, or however you pronounce that guy's name that's at Texas now? Mm-hmm. Why should the University of Texas be paying for his education when he's getting $3 or $4 million from some tea company or whatever he's doing? You see what I'm saying? He's saying that money means nothing to those kids. So don't make them be walk-ons. And so I think there's some merit to that. And so we'll talk more about him. He's got some good thoughts on that.
Okay, okay, I see that. But even before this NIL stuff happened, college baseball seems to have been is the stepchild orphan to college athletics on campuses, and that doesn't make sense to me because it's supported. It is supported, and the College Baseball World Series is shown by ESPN. The postseason is shown by ESPN, and yet these kids get very little in the terms of money and financial help in athletic departments. And the rules say you can only have, like you said, 11 and a half scholarships.
Yeah, I've never understood it.
I think that's wrong. I think that should be adjusted.
I feel like if you go to play sports, regardless of what level it is, wherever it is, and football players are getting scholarships and every athlete should be getting a scholarship regardless of your sport. John says you can go to JUCO baseball and get a full scholarship. Yes, you can. Jeff says we're first in home runs. We got more home runs than Tennessee. That's hard to believe.
Yeah, that is hard to believe.
The way they swing the bat.
We probably looked it up. Yeah.
Ruse Ogre State Farm Office is a team of dedicated insurance professionals ready to help life go right with the right insurance options. Visit ogreinsurance.com. Give them a call at 352-240-1779. Got a text on the Titan Mark text line from Joseph. Joseph said, that stat about us being dead last in on base percentage and second to last in hitting blows my mind. As you said, all we've talked about is how bad our pitching has been this year. So, Rick says baseball does not produce enough money. That is true, Rick, but neither does gymnastics.
How about neither do the majority of college? Neither do the majority of college athletics produce. Please, there are two revenue-producing sports on campus, dude, and it's basketball and football. I don't know of any.
That's the only two sports. I don't even know if men's basketball makes money right now.
Well, I know, but
it does in some places like Kentucky. But
I'm just saying, there's enough money. There is enough money with these TV contracts to expand the baseball scholarship numbers. It's very simple. And it's
not even that. Just think about JC. Last year that every SEC school got $90 million from the league?
Yes. Well, I'm saying, QB, I need an administrator or somebody to tell me why college baseball gets so few scholarships. You've got how many players on the roster, QB? 30? How many? So you're telling me less than a third of those players are going to have financial. I mean, it's just I don't understand why baseball's so hated. It seems like by these people.
Andy says on Facebook Live, gymnastics makes money. He thinks. I think it's free to go to gymnastics.
I don't think gymnastics makes money. Maybe at Florida, but it does across the country.
I mean, it's packed, but I'm almost 100% sure you get in free.
North Carolina State University's gymnastics program does not operate in the black. Okay, when they travel to Utah and they bring 15 girls and staff to Utah, that is a debt that is not paid for, okay, by the gymnastics itself. It is not self-supporting. That is wrong. And I would say that basically all these sports do not self-sustain with all the traveling that's involved and all of the help and the support staff that's needed. My God, look at the University of Florida, University of Alabama's college football coaching staffs, dude. And look at the process and the programs that these college football organizations put together. And you're telling me you can't scrape another couple dimes and quarters to help out some baseball players out there who are bringing attention and prestige to your university? You don't think it mattered that somebody won the College World Series? It does matter. You got to agree.
Yeah, I agree 100% with it. I don't. We'll have to look into that once all the championships are over and that summer dead period.
Yeah,
we'll get somebody from the UAA.
That's a good idea. It's a good idea. I mean, who's watching anything in June other than the College Baseball World Series and golf, dude? What else is there?
Yeah, so there's nothing. Right. Okay, JC, I want to bring up. Have you been following what the NCAA? Whatever they came about in the last 2 days about the NIL, I have not, because I just feel like there's going to be lawsuits no matter what.
That's right. Yeah, and they're fighting. They're gonna threaten to throw some rules out there and some penalties, and the agents are simply saying, "Bring it on." There was something about, and QB, maybe you could explain this to me. There was something about the college football. The NCAA is going to relax the conference championship requirements. And I guess I'm still confused what that meant. The NCAA recommends loosening championship game requirements. I didn't even know that was an issue. And I didn't know what they're talking about. You basically have two divisional winners and you play, right? The only conference that doesn't do it that way.
Yeah, I do know the ACC is thinking about doing away with their two divisions.
Okay.
But I don't know what loosening your championship game means, because that's what kids are playing for. I mean, you're playing to win your conference championship.
It says right here, the NCAA Football Oversight Committee recommended the Division I Council remove the requirements to hold a conference championship game and exempt it from the maximum number of games. So we're not going to have conference championship games now. Maybe they're setting up for.
I don't think there's any way they get rid of those. I mean, you know how much money that damn game in Atlanta makes?
Well, that's the only one.
Well, that's true.
But I would say, QB, I would say maybe what they're doing is freeing up some space for either an additional game, a playoff system, or something. I don't know. But this just comes down. I don't understand the headline. NCAA recommends loosening championship game requirements. So somebody smarter than us can figure it out and tell me why that's.
Lauren says gymnastics is not free, but they do not make money. Only football and hoops. Kentucky football makes more money than basketball. They must have just recently changed that. Now, my kids are much older. I just know when my daughter was a youngster here, I went and took like 12 young girls to the gymnastics meet, and we just walked in and sat wherever you wanted. So obviously it's gotten different. I guess you do pay to get in now. I know a lot of kids go to those meets though. So we shall see. All right, JC, back to the professional sports. Tonight, the Celtics are tied with the Bucks 2-2.
How about Al Horford?
For Boston.
Al Horford.
The Grizzlies probably get their season will end tonight against the Warriors without Ja Morant. But who do you think? You think the Celtics win tonight?
I love the way Al Horford bailed him out in Game 5. And if you didn't notice that, Florida fans, your former Gator is playing for a championship for the first time in his career, really, with realistic aspirations. And he is 35 years old, I think. And
36 sounds about right.
So he took over that Game 5 in the fourth quarter, and he put it on Giannis or whatever, however you say him. And the Bucks are a 5-point underdog tonight to Boston. And Boston, was beat the other night. They were beat, but Al Horford bailed them out and saved the night. And so if he can do that again, they can win this Game 6 tonight. They're probably, it's not over, but they're probably going to win the series. That would mean Milwaukee would have to win twice. And you're right, Golden State will beat Memphis and finish them, and then wait for either Phoenix or Dallas. Phoenix won by 30 last night over Dallas. That is a strange series, dude. The home teams look so much different than the road teams. And the Miami Heat blew out your Sixers. So that series could end tonight as well in Philly. But I think
they play in Philly tomorrow.
Actually, it's tomorrow night. Excuse me, it's tomorrow.
And I'm pretty sure the home team's won every game there. So I think the Sixers will win. They're going to go back to Miami for Game 7.
Yeah, I mean, you're the guy who told me home courts and home field.
I don't understand how home court has anything to. I just don't. You're not ever going to convince me it's the same dimensions. It's still a 10-foot rim.
I know. QB,
and you don't have to worry about jumping off sides.
Yeah, the basket.
Think about it. What gives you the home field advantage in football? It's either weather or crowd noise, right?
Yeah.
Okay. What gives you the home court advantage in basketball? It's air conditioned, set at 72 degrees, regardless of what arena you're in.
It's the energy, QB. It's the energy.
Well, I get that, but it blows my mind.
Yes, indeed. Well, somebody won by 30 last night, and somebody won by 35.
I know. But like baseball, I can understand because you have quirky little parks. The outfield. What is the Astros has that little slope in center field. Wrigley's different. The dimensions are different. Basketball is the same dimensions. It blows my mind.
Blows your mind.
So anyway, Richard says NBA equals no interest to him. I don't watch it unless it's oh, we got a phone call. I got to get off of that one. I got to read this. This is from Jeff. He says the 300 plus D1 baseball schools simply aren't going to vote to increase the numbers. They would need to pay for another 30 scholarships, counting the 15 more for women's sports because of Title IX. That is true.
Okay.
Without making another dime in revenue.
All right. Hey, can we throw a number out there? $90 million. Okay, just forget about it. I don't want to hear about how expensive it is. That's look, these if athletic departments, if this was a business, then basically you would only have football and basketball. That's it. Okay. So you can have legislation that forces you to pay for other things because of gender, if we can figure out what the gender is. And then you have basically a lot of programs operating in the red. That's just the way it is. And it's subsidized by the business aspect of the college athletic departments, football, and in most cases, basketball. You can pay for, I mean, look at that place you're sitting at right there, QB. Now, I don't know if there was private money coming in to help that happen right there, but that could pay for a few
I would have to say the Presley family did something because the damn thing's named after them.
Well, great. Where are some of our great baseball alumni out there? Why isn't Cardozo stroking a check? Let's get something. Let's get these former baseball. I'm going to call them up and ask them. I said, Jeff, get Big Red. Let's get supportive and create some scholarship for the baseball program.
That's pretty funny.
But you know what I'm saying, QB? Everything operates in the red. Everything, and they have the money. They can absolutely pay for more scholarships. You'll never commit.
Before we get you out of here, Greg says on Facebook Live, can JC's maintenance company come over and watch this big deck?
Yeah,
you can start a new business, JC. And
you can't get anybody to help these days here in Gainesville, Alachua County, North Central Florida. Everybody's either working for UF or everybody's just not working, right? And it's unbelievable to me how hard it is to get good help around here sometimes. Now, I did get my landscaper to go do my mom's house. His tab has already crossed 15 grand. And we're just trying to figure out right now how we pay for our scholarships over here at JCU. But I think that basically getting things done, it has become very problematic in many cases around here these days. And I don't know why a kitchen takes 8 weeks to redo or a bathroom takes 2 months to be done. I mean, in Texas, and I'm not trying to compare, even though I am, in Texas things get done in 3 days, 2 days, 1 day.
Yeah.
Maybe it's just the labor is not available. I don't know, QB.
Well, speaking of Texas, Dan says scared money don't clean porches. All right, JC, before I get to Blake Brockermeyer, let's get to our Peachland Dentistry, Gator Nation's #1 choice for dentistry in Charlotte surrounding areas.
About that.
Visit them at peachlanddental.com for our golf picks of the AT&T Byron Nelson Pitch and Putt Golf Tournament. Don't you think the winning score is going to be like 27 under par?
Yeah, and I've been to Craig's Ranch in McKinney. It's a beautiful place, but man,
wide ass open, right?
Yeah, the way there's no rough, and the way
they could land 747s on the fairways.
Yeah, there's no real. The course really doesn't have much defense unless you get some massive wind in North Texas, which you can get. But the course has very little defense at TPC Craig's Ranch. They used to play it at Las Colinas down there in the middle of Dallas. But again, those scores were very high. I'm going to go right off the bat with Scotty Scheffler. I think he's getting ready to tune up for the PGA. He's a Texan, and let's go with the Texan. Well, I know exactly who all you're picking. You're not going to believe the guys I'm picking for this, because the guys that usually win this are just your obscure guys. Right. Yeah.
Give me the LSU Tiger, Sam Burns.
Yeah, good pick. I've seen him. I like him. I'm going to take an oldie but goodie. I just got this feeling he's going to win this year, and I don't know when, but Matt Kuchar is going to win a tournament. So I'm going to stick with Matt. He's an older guy now, but he,
where did he play his college golf?
Georgia Tech.
Yeah, he's a rambling wreck.
Good try.
All right, I'm going to go with Taylor Gooch.
Okay.
You know where he played his golf, JC?
I don't know that. Oh, Georgia.
No. No, probably the premier golf program in the last 20 years.
The premier. Oh, well, let's say it's not Oklahoma State, would it be?
Yeah. Wouldn't you say they're the premier?
Yeah. Oh, I'd say they're absolutely major.
Okay. He's a Cowboy.
Yeah, but Georgia too, though. I mean, all these players, they don't win championships there. Let's go with okay. So speaking of Georgia, I'll go ahead and throw a Georgia Bulldog in the mix here, and it's not Bubba Watson. It would be Keith Mitchell.
Keith Mitchell's the only guy on tour that wears the what I call the old man visor. Coach Spurrier, big visor.
Big fan. We have a friend named Bob that does that too. QB.
Yep. Stinger.
Bob likes to wear.
You gotta have a big head to wear those.
You do. You gotta have a watermelon head. Not that Bob has a watermelon head, and I'd never tell him that, but it works for him. So Keith Mitchell, Scotty Scheffler, and Matt Kuchar
my final pick is going to be Maverick McNeely.
Okay. Jeez.
You know where he played his college golf?
Where did you pull that?
Learn about where. See, the great thing about our program is we educate you on where these guys played college golf.
Yes, because people are really concerned.
He's a Stanford Cardinal.
A Stanford Cardinal. Okay, well, listen,
he was the number one amateur coming out. John says on Facebook, "I stick with the local product, Hudson Swafford."
Okay, Hudson Swafford. Well, listen, I mean, we're getting ready, aren't we? Well, I mean, next week is the PGA Championship. So, I would expect Dustin Johnson to play this course and blow it up, too. I really would. Wouldn't you think?
I would think every one of them are going to be shooting so low because, like you said, it's wide open.
Yeah.
And it's just
Kisner, got Kisner, you got Matsuyama, you got Justin Thomas. Usually this tournament doesn't have that kind of field. And you're right. Most of the obscure guys usually win a tournament like this. You're absolutely right about that. But you're going to have Spieth. You're going to have Scheffler. You're going to have Day. You're going to have Matsuyama. You're going to have Thomas. All these guys need to play to get ready for next week. And I'm going to throw one more bonus pick. Go with Cornell Burt at the Hawkstone MGA in Flight 3. If you like money, go with that. Go up at the Calcutta on Thursday night at the Hawkstone International. And you will, if you like money, that's who you go with.
Charlie says, stay away from the West Coast golfers. Yeah, I don't know why I picked Maverick McNeely. Maybe because I just like his name.
Well, you do.
He's a very good player, though.
I think it has something to do with the grass, QB. The grass.
Yeah, it's weird how some guys can't play on Bermuda grass.
Yeah, POA. They like that crap out there in California, but some people think Bermuda's crap. So, the PGA is going to be great, though, QB. The PGA at Southern Hills in Tulsa, man, that is a great call. Gosh, that's a great place. I've never been, but I know about it. It's really something.
Yeah.
About the only thing in Tulsa, Oklahoma, that's really noteworthy, to tell you the truth. But
the Golden Hurricane are there,
which makes about as much sense as there is zero possibility and chance that a hurricane goes through Tulsa, Oklahoma,
much less a golden one.
There is zero. Why they're not the Tulsa Tornadoes makes, again, these are mysteries to me. Why baseball doesn't get any money and why the Tulsa Hurricane aren't the Tulsa Tornadoes. That's.
I agree. I've said it for many, many years.
I'm going to think about this. I'm going to think about this all day as I power wash the front porch now.
So you have more responsibility.
Got to get the front porch, and then she's going to put me to work on the sweeping around here. It's just too much, QB. When my kids left, we upsized instead of downsized. I wonder if we did that right.
I think you made a mistake. We'll let our listeners. That would be our poll question today. JC's kids all left the house to go to college and do other things. JC went from a very cozy home to an extremely large home for some reason. He did it wrong. The poll question is JC
an idiot?
Crazy?
Is he an idiot? Yes. You got yes, no, yes, and NA. So, all right. Well, good luck. I'm going to get on Big Red about the baseball, though. It pisses me off that they don't get supported.
What do you think he has to do with it? Nothing. He's just a broadcaster.
Well, he knows the ins and outs of college baseball better than most people, and certainly better than either one of us. So maybe he can give us some insight why it doesn't happen. They need to support baseball better.
So, JC, real quick, how much weight have you lost?
Well, I haven't gotten on a scale for today's show. I was going to do that Friday. Friday, we have to figure out how we're going to logistically do this, QB, with all of our happenings. But we'll worry about that, I guess, Thursday night. No, I got to go to the scale. But I was at 212, down from 216 the last time I reported in. And so if I can get – I think I'm probably below 210. I mean, it falls off of me, but it also gets heavy. I mean, it's all about my intake, QB, my consumption. That's it.
All right. Well, we'll talk to you soon, JC. Go have fun pressure washing.
Thanks. Great. See you Friday.
That's JC. Join us on the Titan MR hotline. Going to take a quick timeout. Come back. We'll be joined by Blake Brockermeyer for 24/7 Sports out in Texas. Give us his thoughts on the SEC and other things in college football. You're watching and listening to Pod Up with Matthews in the Morning.
We want to take this moment to thank all our sponsors who keep the show going and pay the bills. Crime Prevention Security Systems, large enough to serve you, small enough to care. Titan MRI, Gainesville's only locally owned and operated MRI facility. Meldon Law, won't back down. Peachland Dental, Gator Nation's first choice for dentistry in Port Charlotte. Comfort Temp, comfort is our business, peace of mind is our promise. QC Kinetics, live pain-free with QC Kinetics. Celebration Point Town Center, Chris Doring Mortgage. Our Gridiron sponsors are Auto ER, UF Bookstores, Celebration Point Town Center, South State Bank, Chris Doring Mortgage, Silverback Concrete Co., Ruse Ogra Agent, State Farm Insurance. Some of our touchdown sponsors are Campus USA Credit Union, Adams Rib Company, Doreen Weeby Realtor, Caldwell Banker, MM Parish, Gator Dominoes, Celebrate Primary Care, Gator Bait Media, Golf Style Cuts, Big Mills Cheesesteaks. If you are interested in promoting your business on the show, visit potupwithshane.com and click the advertise button. Again, thank you to all the great businesses that support the show. If you like what we are doing here, make sure you follow us and support the businesses that support us.
Pro football legend Emmitt Smith understands your joint pain.
It does not surprise me that there are a ton of people out there that's in pain.
That's why Emmitt is such a proponent of QC Kinetics, offering real lasting joint pain relief with non-surgical, all-natural biologic treatments.
Whether it's a joint pain, ankle pain, shoulder pain, neck pain, back pain, hip pain, any kind of pain, the body eventually will break down when it's under that much stress.
That stress can cloud your judgment to the point that you'll just say yes to the scalpel or yes to another prescription of pain pills. But maybe it's time for a second opinion from QC Kinetics.
The reason why I would recommend this is because the natural biologics that QC Kinetics is providing you gives your body a chance to naturally heal itself.
Restorative, regenerative solutions are here. Get lasting relief and live your life.
Call QC Kinetics 352-400-4550. That's 352-400-4550. QC Kinetics 352-400-4550.
Welcome back to the Crime Prevention Security System Studios, large enough to serve you, small enough to care. Celebration Points where the Gators go to celebrate with premium brands like Visors Rooftop, Dave & Buster's, Regal Cinemas, Hotel Indigo, Sensei Asian Bistro, Escape Apology, and the HBC's restaurant Spurrier's Gridiron Grill, where every Tuesday you can enjoy 50% off handcrafted martinis from 4 to 10. We'll see you at Celebration Point where the Gators go to celebrate. We're going to head now to the Titan MR hotline out to the great state of Texas. We're joined by Blake Brockermeyer, my former teammate. He's a first-round draft pick of the Carolina Panthers, Texas All-American, now a national college football analyst and co-host of The Block with Carl Reed for 24/7 Sports. Good morning, Blake. How are you, my man?
I'm great. How are you doing, man?
Not too bad. I wanted to get you on because you follow college football very closely now. You got 3 boys playing college ball. Let's first start with your thoughts. You and I have kind of talked a little bit. This NIL stuff is crazy, and I know the NCAA is trying to crack down on it. But you had a pretty good idea and thought process. Kind of tell us briefly what you think some of these schools should do.
Well, I have lots of different thoughts. Are you talking about the walk-on?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, for these schools that have 20, you have 20 walk-on spots. You got 85 scholarships. You got 20 walk-on spots. For the schools that have, a lot of money, the easiest thing to do to really upgrade your roster to me is to put the guys on your team that are making, $200,000 plus, which I don't know how many of those guys there are, but there's definitely some, and just make them walk-ons. I mean, the value of the scholarship for those guys is basically nothing. And with these collectives, you can just add that into their packages, and you've upgraded your roster from having, potentially 20 guys that aren't really going to do a whole lot for you to 20 guys that are scholarship players, which is basically almost an entire recruiting class.
Yeah, I think it's a great idea because, I mean, you and I've talked, and we both think that players should be paid something, but it's not about name, image, and likeness right now. It's about buying players. Your alma mater has a lot of money, the University of Texas, as well as Texas A&M. Where are they in this NIL deal right now? We know that they got the quarterback that transferred to Texas from Ohio State that had a big NIL deal coming out of high school. They just signed a wide receiver from Alabama. There's still probably talk about I think it's Addison, the wide receiver from Pitt, possibly going to Texas. I mean, they've been really, really active in this. Do you like it, what they're doing?
Well, don't forget Bijan Robinson, who's actually one of the few players in the country that actually probably does deserve whatever he gets. It's one of the greatest kids I've ever seen in my life. He just got a $300,000 Lamborghini. So, so Texas is definitely very committed to being at the top of the NIL game and paying their players. They have every one of their offensive linemen that are on their roster are making a minimum of $50,000 if they're on scholarship. So think about that. You can be the worst offensive lineman at Texas who won't play one snap and still make $50,000. And then on top of that, they have team collectives and different money. So, if you're an O lineman in Texas, you're probably going to make over $100,000, even if you don't play, which is just insane to me. But you know what? Good for those guys. Those guys are they're using the system to their advantage to get players at a position that they've struggled with for a really long time, and the other teams are going to have to catch up, or they're going to be left behind.
All right, you got a couple of kids. Tell us briefly, without saying all the ins and outs, but what is Alabama? Because you don't really hear Alabama in the news on Twitter and social media about a lot of their players making a whole lot of money. They keep it kind of on the down low, right?
Yeah, Alabama doesn't let any information get out about anything, so it's very everything there is very they keep it quiet. But from what I've understood, they're going to start in I believe September once the actual season starts. Coach Saban's a pretty smart guy. He's not going to let guys transfer out in August or before August and get paid. He wants to make sure these guys are actually going to be there. So I think in September that every single player on their team will all make the same amount of money, and whatever it is. I mean, I have no idea what the money is or what how much they'll get, but every player from Bryce Young to the worst scholarship player on the team will get the same amount of money. So he wants to keep everything the same. He doesn't want to cause any locker room tension, which is going to be a major problem across college football with some of these schools this year, is my guess. And so the Bryce Youngs and Will Andersons of the world that are making millions, they're going to still get theirs, of course, but just the regular Joe Schmo offensive lineman like my kids will at least get something.
Speaking of Bryce Young, you having two boys who are offensive linemen at at Alabama. Everything that I've never met Bryce Young, just hearing him in interviews and just watching the way how composed he is. He doesn't act up a lot. Do your kids like him a lot?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think he's, palling around with my kids a whole lot. I know one of my kids is a center, so he obviously has a lot more interaction with them than most. But he's a great kid. He's got a great family. I've met him at the Davey O'Brien Awards this year in Fort Worth, and just a very humble kid who's very calm, cool, and collected on the field, doesn't lose his temper, and he's almost like, he is like a robot. I mean, he is built for this. He's made for this. His parents have done an incredible job raising him, and he's just obviously, as you saw last year, and really his first year playing, just a incredible talent. So, great kid on the field and off the field, and just a kid that I think.
Well, I think we lost Blake. Blake, you there? Can you hear us, Blake?
I hear you. You hear me?
Okay, I got you. I kind of cut out there for a second. At Chris Doring Mortgage, they do mortgage lending right, helping home buyers throughout Gainesville and North Central Florida. Call Chris Doring Mortgage today at 352-244-0840. A few more minutes with Blake Brockermeyer for 24/7 Sports out in Texas. Blake, we got a text on the Titan MR text line here, and it comes from Joseph. Joseph says, Blake, you being a Texas Longhorn, do you think Arch Manning goes to Texas?
I do. I personally think he will. I think Texas gives him an opportunity to do something that his dad and his uncle and his grandfather didn't do. Texas, of course, is going to the SEC here at some point, probably, honestly, right around when he gets there. But, go to a different school, create his own legacy. And, let's be honest. I mean, Alabama and Georgia don't really need him. I mean, they obviously want him, but Texas needs it. I mean, Texas hasn't won in a long time. They need players. They need a huge name to come in. And they haven't won since 2005. So, if you're able to create that legacy for yourself, then you're a legend. I mean, at any school you are, but, if you won a national championship at Alabama, it's like, okay, well, we won one 2 years ago, but that's awesome. We're going to go win one again next year too. So I think that's something that would probably be special for him. And I'm sure, the town of Austin has some appeal to him. I mean, he's going to make his money wherever he goes. So I don't think that's an issue for him, but I think, Sark's done a pretty good job with development with quarterbacks over the years, and I'm sure that's important to his family, and I think that's where he'll end up. But I also have some really good connections at Georgia, and they feel great about him going there too. So you never know. I mean, anything can happen and change, but I think he'll end up at Texas.
What's going to be interesting, I've never seen him play. I've just seen highlights here and there, and I do think he's more athletic than Peyton and Eli. But let's just say Texas has a good year this year with the Ewers kid at quarterback, who he'll be a freshman. Is Arch going to want to go sit on the bench, or is there going to be pressure wherever he goes for that head coach to play him? So it'll be interesting to see how that all pans out. We got a couple of
I think when you look at Ewers, and if he maximizes his potential, which who knows? I mean, he looked pretty good in the spring game. He's got some incredible skills and talent, as everybody knows. But he's been in college for a year, so this will be his second year coming up. So if he maximizes what he's supposed to be, then you'd have to consider the next season, the 23 season, being his last season.
True.
So if that were to be the case, then Arch would come in and play for a year and be done.
Yeah. Andy's got a question for you, Blake, here on Facebook Live, brought to you by Melton Law. Blake, love watching your playing days with the Bears. During your great NFL career, was Olin Kreutz the best offensive lineman you played with, and does he have a shot at the Hall of Fame?
Yeah, Olin's a hell of a player. I mean, just when you look at Olin and you're like, how is this guy that great of a player? But he's a little bit of a smaller guy, but really strong, incredibly smart, just a nasty, mean guy on the field. And he should be in the Hall of Fame. I think there's been a lot worse players that have made it that have done less as an offensive lineman. I think he'll eventually get in. It'll probably be a little bit, but he's very deserving and should be in, and is just an incredible talented player.
Yeah, he one mean dude, no question about it. All right, Blake, real quick, you break down the SEC. You watch so much tape. Looking forward to this upcoming season, obviously, most people say it's Alabama, Georgia. Who are some of your dark horses? And since a lot of Gators are watching this, where do you see Florida fitting in, and how many games you think they can win this year?
Florida's an interesting team when you look at it. I was surprised at the odds that came out the other day that had them as the second highest favorite to win the East. I mean, they might be. I think there's a lot of question marks with Florida with AR-15. I mean, he hasn't played a whole lot at Florida. People got real excited about his spring game. But to me, it's really a lot of question marks with them. I think South Carolina is going to be much improved. The two teams that I think will be heavily in the mix to be the number. I mean, obviously Georgia's going to probably win the East, but I think Kentucky and Tennessee are the two teams that I'm kind of looking at in the East that could potentially battle it out for the 2 seed with Florida. I think those are the top 3 teams, and then I think South Carolina's going to knock some people off. I think they really surprised me last year, winning as many games as they did with, in my opinion, not a lot of talent. And we'll see how Spencer Rattler looks this year, but they look to be a lot better team. So they have Georgia early in the season, so that'll be interesting to see how that goes for them. And then the West is just a wild division because Bama, their road schedule is very difficult. They play Ole Miss, Arkansas, and LSU in the West on the road. So that's 3 incredibly tough games on the road for them. Their home schedule only got Auburn and A&M in it, so it's really pretty weak. They have a really weak home schedule this year. Besides those 2 teams, and then Mississippi State's good to knock somebody off, but I think Ole Miss and A&M will be the 2 teams in the West that battle it out for the 2 spot. I think those 2 teams are very talented. LSU is probably a year away. They've got over 40% of their roster is new, 90% of their coaching staff is new. So I think there's going to be, and their schedule is really difficult on top of that. So I look for Ole Miss and A&M to be the 2 teams in the West that kind of give Alabama a run for their money. And but I think we're going to see a rematch of last year's SEC championship game again in Atlanta with Alabama and Georgia.
Last text for you here on the Titan Mark text line from Jimmy. He says, Blake, how good can Georgia be after losing all those guys to the NFL draft?
Well, I think their offense is going to be much improved, honestly. They've got some weapons, wide receiver and tight end. I think they're going to probably be a little less conservative. I think last year with their defense being so elite, they were a little more conservative on offense. I think they'll be better offensively. Their defense will definitely look different. With all the creatures that they had leave for the draft. I mean, they had 5 first-round picks defensively, which is unreal. But they've still got guys. They've got Nolan Smith, Kylie Ringo, and Jalen Carter, to name a few. So if they can stay healthy defensively, I think just with Kirby's football IQ and scheme, they're going to be very good. We'll find out early against Oregon. Oregon looks to be a team that you would think Georgia's going to just slaughter week 1, but Oregon's got all their offensive linemen back. They've got some different weapons back. I think they could. We'll find out real early with Georgia, kind of what they're going to look like, because I think Oregon physicality up front on their offensive line will be an interesting matchup to keep an eye on, just with all the experience they have coming back.
Final thing, I personally feel like Jimbo Fisher has more pressure on him than any other coach in America, because He finally beat Alabama, but he hasn't won a title in the conference. A&M has thrown all that money into facilities. They've thrown all that money into their recruiting class. Am I crazy to think that, or do you agree with it?
I mean, I think you're definitely right. I mean, every single number one recruiting class has played for a national championship or won a national championship. So I don't think this year is the year for them, just because they've got so many new faces. If you look at their roster right now, which obviously can change with the portal. I mean, I always say right now because things change quickly, but they don't. If you kind of scan through the roster, there's really not anyone on their team that you look at and say, "Wow, that guy's a first-round draft pick this year." You know, potentially coming up in the draft. I mean, they might have one. So I think they're still a year away. They've got to get their quarterback situation kind of figured out. I think they have a new defensive coordinator, so they're going to be good and competitive. They have to go to Tuscaloosa to play Alabama, which is going to be a lot better for anyone. Anyone that's played in Kyle Field realizes what a huge advantage that place is and what a nightmare it is to play for. I know the Gators.
Let everybody know how they can listen to your show and follow all the work you do for 24/7 Sports.
Yeah, see, I mean, 247.com or 247sports.com. Blake B. Brockermeyer FW on Twitter, and Carl Reed and I do a show every day. You can follow that on there, and just keep up with us through social media on those meetings.
All right. I guess we lost Blake again. Hey, man, I appreciate you. You're there. Okay. Big Blake, I appreciate it, buddy. We'll talk to you soon. Tell your boys I said hello, and we'll have you on when it gets closer to kickoff season.
All right, brother. Good talking to you, man. Take care.
Yep, that's Blake Brockermeyer for 24/7 Sports. Join us on the Titan & More hotline. I want to get to This Day in Sports, which is brought to you by our good friends at Comfort Temp. At Comfort Temp, comfort is our business peace of mind. As our promise, beat the summer heat and schedule your air conditioners tune up today, keeping you chill and the Florida heat away. Comfort Temp Heating and Air. Call us today, 352-376-2366. This Day in Sports, let me find it here. 2008 PGA Players Championship, TP Sawgrass. Sergio Garcia of Spain claims his biggest win of his career to date in a sudden death playoff over Paul Goydes. He won the Masters after that. That's This Day in Sports, brought to you by our good friends at Comfort Temp. Don't forget, today at 5 o'clock on the SEC Network, Gator softball, first game of the SEC tournament in Gainesville against Texas A&M. Make sure you tune in for that. Tomorrow's program, we'll have Brent Beard talking college football. We appreciate all the questions and comments that you guys have been sending us. We do have a text before we get out of here. It comes from Alan in Atlanta. He says, I said it before, you're going to be shocked at how many schools will have entire rosters on NIL deals this year. I firmly believe UF will be one of them. I don't. You're going to have a few guys that have some. The only player, I mean, we have guys getting money through the collective and all that, which is what it's about. That's what it's for. AR has a car deal. I don't see us having any guys making $400,000 and $500,000 like some of these schools. I could be really wrong, but I don't see that happening. Andy asked real quick, QB, did you take Blake and the O-line out to dinners while in Chicago? No, they took me out, Andy. They made way more money than I did, so they would take me out. That's how it worked. I'll never forget Blake. We were playing in Buffalo, and he's the left tackle. And you always hear about the old lookout blocks. And it never happened to me in a game, but Bruce Smith beat him on a spin move, and I heard him screaming, look out, and I got clobbered by Bruce Smith, blindsided. And I joke with Blake all the time about that, the old lookout block. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed today's program. Have a great day. Hopefully we'll be talking about a Gator win in softball tomorrow. Have a great day, folks. We'll see you tomorrow.